Hey there, Watson here, back with another review slash achievement talk. Um, this time we are talking about Yakuza 3. So I have been playing all the Yakuza games sort of on and off for the past year. Um, as you've probably seen on the channel, the entire Let's Play for every single game in the series, all 13 of them currently available, are up on the channel. So you can have a look at my playthrough for all of them on the channel. However, I have been going back and slowly chipping away at the completions for the games. I currently have 6 completions for the series. I've done Yakuza 0, Kiwami 1, 2, Yakuza 3, which is why I'm making this video. I've also done Like a Dragon Gaiden and The Man Who Erased His Name, and I've also done Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. But this particular video is about Yakuza 3 as it is the latest completion. So, story-wise for the game, you can kind of see at this point with the Yakuza series that Sega were kind of running out of ideas for the series. It's very much, as a friend would say, Dad Simulator. Basically, Kiryu, the main character of the game, has kind of retired at this point, and he's gone off. He's left Kamurocho, and he's gone to Okinawa, and he's opened up a orphanage as his father figure. What's his name? Jun Kazama? Somebody Kazama. Yeah, he'd had an orphanage before. Kiryu was obviously raised in that orphanage, so he decided that he was going to open up an orphanage. And yeah, it's kind of a lot of the story kind of progresses as like a day in the life of Kiryu, him looking after the kids, getting into hijinks with the local Yakuza family, Rikiya and stuff like that. The story basically goes like that all the way to, I think it's like chapter 9, and then chapter 9 is literally called The Plot. And then it just dumps a load of information on you and then tells you why Kiryu has to go back to Kamurocho to save the day again. It's really weird the way that it's done. I believe, from what I've been told, that Yakuza 2 was supposed to kind of be the last in the series for Kiryu at least, and Sega kind of just brought him back for 3. And you can kind of see that, like, with the story, they didn't kind of know what to do with it. Like, it's a, as I said, Dad Simulator. It's like a general slice of life of Kiryu looking after his children and whatnot. Out in Okinawa. The music, as per usual, is pretty decent. I can't say I really play the Yakuza games for the music, but it's just kind of like there in the background. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Like, oh, combat. Combat seems to be a contention point for quite a few fans in the series for this one. Some say it's the best, some say it's the worst. I personally found that the combat was like okay. Like, the biggest issue with the combat in this game is that Kiryu kind of doesn't feel like he's doing any damage. It's kind of like chip damage constantly, and you kind of see like most of the characters spend most of the time blocking, which is fine. It's not really an issue that the enemies are blocking, but when it takes a little bit extra time for every single fight, and you get into loads as you go through the story because the person you're fighting is blocking all the time, and you kind of have to get around that a little bit with throws and whatnot. It's kind of a bit of a pain, but generally, like, the combat doesn't really change much throughout the series. Like, I'm playing Yakuza 4 now, and it's the same combat. The only difference is, like, the characters do a little bit more actual physical damage to their enemies, and at the same time, like, they also what's the word? I lost my train of thought. You don't have to, like, oh, that's it. The characters that you're fighting against don't block as much. They obviously still block, but like it's not egregious like threes is. There was obviously a slight tweak. But yeah, that's kind of it for like a review. It's for me when I play through all the stories for all the games, like 3, 4, and 5 were like the bit where it started to drag. I had difficulty getting to the end of like 3, 4, and 5. By the time it got to the end of 5, I was like, I've had enough, I'm done. Luckily though, Yakuza 6 does kind of bring it back a lot. You can definitely see that in these like sort of 3, 4, and 5, this series kind of takes a downturn. Yeah, let's talk about the more important thing, the achievements. So with the Yakuza games, they are quite notorious for their achievements / trophies, depending on what platform you're playing on. They tend to be notoriously hard lists to do. I'm obviously trying to do all of them, but in bits so that I don't get bored. But yeah, Yakuza 3 is very much the same as any other Yakuza game. So, a lot of them, you've got like chapter 1, 2, and 3. All story related, quite simple. Total of 10 lockers in Kamurocho or Rikyu. I can call it Okinawa because I'm not a Japanese speaker and do not know how to say that properly. So, I'm just going to call it Okinawa. Basically, there is locker keys that you can find, which gives you access to lockers in the game, which give you various different items and stuff. Quite a lot of the items are useful. There's an achievement for opening 10 of them. Don't think there's an achievement for opening all of them. We'll find out. Complete 10 sub-stories. So the sub-stories in the Yakuza games tend to be where the more wacky, funny aspects of the game come from. Usually, from what I've been told, they're usually kind of based loosely on true stories. Like things that happened. Like, Kiryu will end up getting like his wallet robbed and stuff like that, or he'll bump into someone and they'll try to scam him in some sort of fashion. That's generally most of the sub stories, and then you get like the really weird ones where it's like you find a group of grown men wearing nappies and acting like babies, and then you end up beating them up. I can't remember whether that's in 3 or 2. But yeah, they kind of like, yeah. Break 30 weapons picked up in battle. You quite often find various different bits and pieces lying around that you can pick up, like traffic cones and bikes and road signs and stuff like that you can beat up your enemies with. Finish 10 battles for heat actions. The heat action is the Y or the triangle action, which tends to be a brutal beatdown. Actually, I suppose these games are on Switch now as well, so it would be also X. Um, but yeah, they tend to be some sort of brutal beatdown. Usually break the weapons as well if you're using a weapon for them. Have your first revelation. So revelations in this game allow you to unlock various different techniques. You can find it's like a short like thing that happens that's usually quite funny. The main one in this game is like a woman riding along on a bike and she sees a sign of like a famous actor and she starts daydreaming about it and she ends up doing a flip over a car. Usual Yakuza things. Chapter 4 complete, Chapter 5 complete, Chapter 6, 7, 8. There's not one for 9 because, as I said previously, 9 doesn't actually have anything to it whatsoever. It is literally you sit in a room with a guy and talk. It's the plot. I can't remember Chapter 11, but Chapter 12, and then complete the game. Pick up 5 pieces of trash from the beach in front of Morning Glory. So, Morning Glory is the orphanage in Okinawa, and there's a beach out front. And you can go down to the beach and you can pick up trash. So there's 5, 30. Complete 30 sub-stories. Run 42.195 kilometers. You get that just by roaming around, basically. Create a fashionable hostess. So quite a few of the Yakuza games, if not all of them, have some sort of hostess mini game to them, which usually is like the hostess management type things. So you can dress the ladies up in various different bits and pieces, and try and coach them to be number one hostess. It's kind of a big thing in Japan, I believe, possibly. I assume it is, with them adding it to the game. 50 sub-stories. Initiate 3 battles using the first-person view mode. So you can click the right stick and it goes into first-person view, and then like if you look at certain people, they will come over and have a fight with you. Hit 2 panels with 1 ball in the hard game at the batting cage. I absolutely hate the baseball minigame. A lot of people will tell you that the Mahjong game is like the worst thing in the Yakuza games. For me, it's batting. Really struggle doing the batting. It takes hours and hours and hours for me to be able to actually do it. No idea why. Haven't got a clue. I just struggle with the batting. Sing all the songs at karaoke. The Yakuza games are well known for like the karaoke. Obviously at this point, Bakamatai. Sorry, Bakamatai is like a meme song that quite a few gamers know about. Break Ace in 9-ball pool. I think Break Ace was potting 2 balls from a break. Might be wrong, it might be 1. But pretty certain it's 2. Make a modded weapon. So, yeah, weapons are a thing in the game and you can modify them to do various different things. You get the option to do that quite early on. 80 sub-stories. Again, self-explanatory. Get a hat trick in darts. For some reason in Yakuza 3 and also in Yakuza 4, the dart game, the kind of controls for it are a bit weird how they've been done, rather than you just like pulling back on the right stick and pushing forward and it going like exactly where you want it to go. You kind of have to mess about with like how much you do it. It's really weird. A hat trick is 3 bullseyes, not 3 triple sixes, triple sixties, triple twenties. Sorry, I don't. Having flashback to darts. Hit a 350-yard drive during a tournament in golf. Self-explanatory if you even remotely played golf before or know of golf. You just have to hit the ball really, really far. Pardon me. Encounter all the masters. So in the game there are various different masters that will teach you various different techniques and stuff. Find them all. That's basically it. Spend 300,000 yen in one visit to a hostess club. So as well as being able to manage the hostesses, you can go and talk to the hostesses, date the hostesses, and whatnot. Spend 300,000 yen is actually really, really easy. There's I think it's like gold champagne or something, which is 300,000 yen. Or it's really expensive. Close to it. But yeah. Apprehend all the hitmen. So one of the side quests in the game is it's a place where they try to rehabilitate former Yakuza members and get them into like normal jobs and stuff. And they basically give you a load of tasks to go and find various different hitmen from this like one faction so that you can rehab them all. That was really good for getting money, which we'll get to in a minute. Order the most expensive item in all the restaurants. That's pretty self-explanatory as well. By all the restaurants, it does mean all the ones in Okinawa and all the ones in Kamurocho. So there's quite a few. I think there was like 20-ish. Claim victory in all the Coliseum tournaments. The Coliseum is something that comes back in quite a few Yakuza games. It's like an underground fighting arena type thing. Quite often you have to do all of the tournaments. This is no different. Play both massage modes. That's really easy to get. The 2.08% of gamers that have unlocked this, yeah, as I said, like it's actually really easy to get that particular achievement. It's just going to the massage place and doing both. Guessing the high score, however, that's different. And a combined total of 3,000 points in poker, roulette, and blackjack. Standard gambling games. There is cheat items that you can get as well, which help to get extra points in all of the games. Very useful for an upcoming achievement. And a combined total of 3,000 points in Silo, Chohan, Koikoi, and Uchikabu. Those are Japanese style gambling games, so they're usually to do with dice or cards rather than, I suppose, like blackjacks and poker's cards. More dice. Win a game of shogi without ever moving your king. Shogi's kind of, the best way to describe it is Japanese chess. There's quite a few more rules to it. You can download an app and basically make it so that you input whatever the computer does, and the game will show you how to beat it. Catch a tuna, surprisingly really difficult. The tuna, the time it takes for the bait, for the bobber to go down and you to strike is like split second. You have to be really, really on it to be able to hook the tuna, and then obviously you've got to get it in as well. The tuna is like 150 feet out, or I think it's feet, might be yards. It's well out there in the ocean as well. So it's like it takes forever to even get the tuna in. You'd think it was really easy, with it being a fishing minigame, and it's kind of not. Win 5 stuffed animals in the UFO catcher and get a high score in a shooting game. This game, the UFO catchers, like, again, they've changed it, and it's a little bit more difficult to actually get the items. Not overly difficult, it doesn't take too long to actually get the stuffed items, but yeah. And then the high score in a shooting game, there's a game in Yakuza called Boxelios. That's where you have to get the high score. It's like one of the Sega arcade games. Win a hand of mahjong when you only have one tile concealed. Generally, mahjong, the best way to win the game, I found, is to keep your hand concealed so that you get more points. This is basically asking you to unconceal your hand. So the best way to get hands in mahjong is to either get 3 or 4 of a particular number, or get a sequence, so like 1, 2, 3, or 5, 6, 7. And for this particular achievement, you need to get yourself down to 1 tile and then be able to make that into a trio or a quadruple or something like that. It took a while to get this one because it's obviously really RNG. But yeah, I think that's probably the most difficult mahjong achievement that I've come across just yet. And the one in Yakuza 4, which I will probably end up explaining when I do the Yakuza 4 video, once I've eventually 100%ed it. I did straight away, did it in one hand. So yeah, it's kind of like, it's really RNG related. Complete all the mini games. Is that 100% one? I think it is. Yeah, so by complete all the mini games, it doesn't mean just do the mini games. It means get the high score on all the mini games. So you need to get the high score in all the modes on baseball. You need to get the high score in bowling. You need to get a high score in mahjong, shogi. You have to get all of the items for the crane game, the high score in the shooting minigame, catch all the fish. Like, I think it's finish a tournament with -3 for golf. It's very involved. It's very difficult. That tends to be one of the more difficult achievements to get. As you can see, there's only 0.24% of people that played the game have actually got that particular achievement. That's the one that takes the time. That's the one that changes the completion time from, like, you know, sort of 30-40 hours to 100. Luckily, Yakuza 4 doesn't have that achievement. I'm not sure about 5, but a couple of the later ones get rid of the 100% requirement for the minigames. But boy, like, Yakuza 0 had it, Kiwami 1 and 2 had it. Like, it's a pain. But I've done it. Turkey while bowling's 3 strikes in a row. There's various different guides online that tell you how to set your ball up for that one so that you can get strikes pretty much all the time. Accumulate 10 million yen. I eventually got this by buying a load of platinum plates from the gambling hall. It made it a lot easier. Knock over 100 people. This was kind of a new thing for the series in that when you walk around, it generates groups of people, just random NPCs. The male of the NPCs, any men, you can walk up behind them and knock them over. You're more likely to do it with the older men than the younger ones, but yeah, other than that, basically it's self-explanatory. You knock over 100 people. Complete all of the sub-stories. As always with the sub-stories in the Yakuza games, the last one is against the assassin Amon. That's usually the most difficult fight in the game. It tends to have a lot of HP. It's like a ridiculous amount. So like 10 bars of HP or something stupid like that. I've probably not got that right, but lots of HP. And yeah, with the combat not being great in this particular one, you can kind of tell where that goes. Defeating him, however, does give you a golden pistol with unlimited ammo, so that comes in handy for an upcoming achievement. Play all rounds in ultimate match mode after beating the game, so you got to finish the game for starters. But you unlock the ultimate match mode, which is a series of fighting challenges that you can do. They're usually quite difficult, quite involved, usually quite hard to do. The last ones for that, the ultimate matches in ultimate match mode, tend to be boss rushes as well. Without items, without any heals, any that sort of stuff. Beat the game on legend difficulty. That's interesting. So legend is obviously the hardest difficulty to complete the game on. To even unlock legend difficulty, you need to finish the game on hard mode first. So I've played through Yakuza 3 times. Luckily, there's a skip function for the second time around. You can skip like cutscenes and stuff and go through all the text really quick. So it kind of like takes like 4-ish hours to complete the game, especially once you've got the golden gun as well, so you can just equip that and just take out enemies really quick with that. And earn all the other achievements in the game. Weird that that's 0.45% and there's stuff that's less. I'm guessing it glitched at some point for some people and they got earn all achievements earlier than they should have unlocked it. It wouldn't surprise me if that was the case. But yeah, that's self-explanatory. Earn the other 49 achievements and you unlock this one. Basically takes the place of a Platinum Trophy. Obviously, Platinum Trophy is over on PlayStation unlock once you have all of the other achievements, all the other trophies in the game anyway. So, yeah. That was a long list for Yakuza 3, and a lot harder to talk about than what the Final Fantasy games were in the previous reviews. Yeah. I enjoyed Yakuza 3, mostly. The story was a bit not great, but other than that. And I continue to work through the rest of the Yakuza games. Currently, as I said, working on Yakuza 4, not much left to do on that. As of recording this video, I've got 5 ultimate matches left to do. All of the ultimate matches. Legend difficulty, and the last sub-story. other than that, it's pretty much finished. So there will most likely be another one of these very, very soon. And if you did make it to the end of this ramble, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next one.